What it's for. So anyway, are you guys ready for tonight's speaker? This guy has been at AMPS longer than I have. This guy has been at AMPS before it was even called AMPS. He's been here longer than Pastor Cam. I'm talking about my main man. I want you to give it up for Chris Kuykendall.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Can everybody hear me? All right, cool. He's right. Anybody who's missed AMP recently, I'm going to just go ahead. I hate doing this, but you know what? I'm going to do it because I think it's funny. I have never missed an AMP service. So if you miss ever, I'm going to make fun of you. Okay? Every Sunday or Wednesday night, I have been here. The only times I've ever missed have been mission trips, but you know, whatever. So, no missing. And you know what I think is really cool tonight? I had to pull out more chairs tonight. I'm excited. That means more people are here. So I love that. Okay. I'm pumped. And for you guys who helped me pull out chairs, thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. So what I want to talk to you guys about tonight, you know, we're in an interesting time in the world right now. Life is hard. Life has always been hard, but it seems a little bit extra hard recently, right? You know, you guys here. And this is something like, guys, you know, people our age, we've never really seen anything like this with the economy and with wars and things like that. We've never really seen it like it is recently. And it's really easy, you know, it's really easy to get stressed out, you know, frustrated, upset, because, you know, stress is all over the place, right? How many of you guys have felt a little bit of stress recently? I'd say probably everybody in this room. You know, there's a lot of hands, you know, like I said, things are hard. And it's easy to get frustrated, it's easy to get bitter, it's easy to get cynical, and just to think, you know what, there's no hope. Life is pointless. This is stupid. Why am I here? Why even get out of bed in the morning? Well, you know, it's in times like that God will lead me to these verses, and you know, in my quiet time, I'll be reading. Like just the other day, I was getting kind of frustrated because I've been out of work, been looking for a job, and the other day I found this verse in 1 Peter. It says, "So be truly glad. There's wonderful joy ahead, even though you have to endure many trials for a little while." Sounds kind of weird, right? You know that song, whenever you're in a bad mood and somebody will, you know, come up to you, "Don't worry, be happy." And you're just like, shut. Just don't. I don't want to hear it. You know, because you're so frustrated. And something I've learned, misery loves company. What about morning people? How many of you in here are morning people? How many of you in here despise morning people? Uh-huh. How many of you aren't sure if you're a morning person or not? You're a morning person. Because you are perky in the morning and you annoy those of us who aren't. We're tired, we're sleepy. It takes me about 2, 3, 5 hours to wake up, and I don't want to mess with it. And all of a sudden somebody's coming, "Hi, how are you today? It's so good to see you. Wake up." You know, early bird gets the worm, and you're like, stop. Stop it. I don't want to hear it. You want them to be cranky like you are first thing in the morning, right? Non-morning people, can I get an amen on that? Yes, exactly. Misery loves company. It's the oldest saying in the world. Because if you're miserable, you want everybody else to be miserable too. Well, there was a guy in the Bible. His name was Job. I really love Job's story because it gives us a really good perspective on what we can do, some practical application, because this guy really did live through a whole bunch of junk in his life. See, Job was one of the richest men in the world. He had livestock, and he had money, and he had an awesome family, and they would have so much fun and hang out, and one day everything gets wiped out, literally in like 5 minutes. The Bible talks about this messenger comes to Job, and his kids are all dead. And the next messenger comes in, and all of his livestock had been taken away. He lost everything in just a matter of a few minutes. And then he got sick, and he was just dejected and frustrated and upset. And so throughout, what happens is some of Job's friends come and visit him. They come, and it's a really cool story about friendship, because these guys come and they just sit with him for days as Job is just weeping about all that he's lost. He's so frustrated. It's a lot like what's happened in the economy right now. So many people have lost so much. They've seen their retirements go away. I'm sure a lot of your parents have lost their jobs. And it's like Job's story all over again for so many of us in this world. Or it could be something small. I had a rough day at school today. And you just want to wallow in that misery. You just want to stay frustrated. Because I know how it is. And then I read these verses, like I said in 1 Peter, and I go, no, there's got to be some reason why the Bible keeps telling us to stay joyful, to remain joyful, to remain in a state where you can rejoice in the Lord and be glad that this is the day that he has made. And so this is like the biggest question in the world to me. How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to live my life in a state of joy? And, and not be miserable. Because, I hated, I used to go to work sometimes and I would just be miserable and I just wanted to bring everybody down with me. And one day it came to me. I was working in a restaurant and it came to me, how can I be Jesus to the people around me? I might hate my job. I might be frustrated with where I'm at, but how can I be Jesus to the people around me? And I realized, I don't really know what that really means. So as we go into Job's story, we go through and Job spends all this time going, God, why did you do this to me? I was perfect. I was the greatest of all your servants. I had all this stuff. I did all these things. I was amazing. And Job's friends are like, yeah, well, obviously God was wrong. He's misjudged you. You should be angry at God. You should curse God. You should say, God, you know what? Forget you. I'm done with you. Because obviously there's somebody out there who can take better care of me than you can. And towards the end of the story, one of Job's other buddies, who's remained quiet this whole time, his name's Elihu. He's the youngest of all of Job's friends. And Elihu goes, you know what, guys? It's my turn. All these guys have their say. Job's complaining, whining, he's frustrated. And Elihu sticks his head up and he says, you know what, guys? I'm the youngest. You guys are all older than me. You're all wiser than me. But you guys are a bunch of idiots. You obviously don't know what you're talking about. And he says something. He says, behold, God is great, and we don't know him. These guys who saw God, and this was a time when God would just show up. He would just show up and, there's all these stories of, rivers being parted and just crazy miracles happening that we don't understand, that we can't even comprehend. They're seeing God. God exists in their world, and they don't know him. But they know that God is so great that we don't know him. So, something I want you guys to take home today. You don't know God as well as you think you do. I don't know God as well as I think I do. How many of you guys know what a cliche is? You ever heard of a cliche? Cliches are fun. I hate them. Because what a cliche